Today's episode of Necronomipod is brought to you by Beardology. There are a lot of imitators out there, but there's only one place I buy my beard oil. Beardology beard oil nourishes your skin and won't leave you with that greasy feel. With over 17 cents available in their extensive product line, I trust my beard to Beardology. You can find Beardology at beardology.co. Use code NECRO15 to receive 15% off your purchase. Beardology. Discover the best way to avoid the shave. In 1974, Michael Taylor was an average 31-year-old living with his wife and 5 kids. Then, religion happened. Michael was convinced to join an Anglican cult run by an attractive, charismatic young woman who Michael was quickly drawn to. After being called out on his lust for another woman, Michael snapped, and members of the Anglican Church were convinced he was possessed by a demon. This led to a night-long exorcism that the overseeing priest believed removed all but 3 demons from Michael's body. Leaving those 3 demons in Michael proved to be a huge mistake. I'm Mike.
I'm Ian.
And I'm Dave. If you're not a fan of poodles, stick around. We have a treat for you. This is Necronomipod.
How do you know that someone is possessed by a demon rather than just someone who's under tremendous psychological strain? There are specific signs. For example, if a person has an aversion to walking into a church and not being able to view a crucifix or an image of Christ. Another sign could very well be if a person possesses a competency in a language that they otherwise couldn't speak. They can take on a serpentine look and coil up in a very serpentine body language manner, and I've seen that happen. To believe that there's a Satan is an act of faith, a leap of faith, in the same way that to say I can believe in God or I have a personal relationship with God.
I'm looking at Michael Taylor's picture right now. There is no way this guy is 31 years old.
Yes, he is.
In this photo,
I'm telling you.
He looks like he's at least double that in this picture. You've seen it.
I have. Is it his bad British teeth? Is that why you're making fun of him?
The teeth aren't even that bad. He just looks like a 60-year-old man, and you're telling me he's 31.
I think the glasses are a big part of it.
The glasses and the balding hair.
I mean, dudes can go bald.
But this is, all right, I'll take your word for it.
I mean, people can go bald young.
I understand that, but then at this point, you would just shave your head, I think. You wouldn't have, like, the Larry Fine bowl around haircut.
I don't know.
Some guys hang with it till the bitter end.
This dude down here, down the street.
Really?
Remember? The Molson Ice guy. He's your and I age, and he's got the bald top, but he's holding on to the sides.
I guess I didn't remember that or realize. Still, this picture, and we'll put it out there, but holy cow.
Did you say the Molson Ice guy?
Yeah.
That's who he was referring to.
That's great.
You got to knock that out. Just shave your whole head.
I agree. This guy, people are going to be shocked when we tell him that he's 31, allegedly there.
Yeah.
So Michael Taylor.
Yeah, let's jump into this guy. Yeah, this is a weird one. This is like the power of human suggestion here.
Yeah.
You know.
Are you foreshadowing that you don't believe this is real?
That this isn't a real exorcism, or he wasn't
demonically possessed, this fella?
Well, let's
see what happens, right?
We'll let the listeners decide for themselves.
Yeah. So at the time of this incident in 1974, Michael Taylor was just your average 31-year-old married family man. He had 5 children. They were living in Yorkshire, England. Strangely enough, where this story goes is Michael and his family didn't even regularly attend church or consider themselves to be like spiritual people or
good for
whatever.
them. It's a plus.
Maybe a little prayer would have put some more hair on his head. I mean, I don't know. Just saying something.
Not everyone can have those luscious locks like you, buddy.
Yeah.
That's covered up under a ball cap all the time.
I know. I don't think I could probably count on like one hand how many times I've seen you without a hat on.
Yeah, it's very rare.
So the town that they lived in was a heavily religious town, with most of the religious activity being the Anglican Church, which is like an offshoot of Protestants, right?
I think it's the successor of the Church of England, isn't it? Which they
You're
created
our church
when
expert.
Henry VIII couldn't get an annulment and
Yeah.
broke away from the Catholic Church, and they started their own church.
And that this is a continuation of that,
I
or
think,
like
I think it's the Church of England,
like the modern day version
yeah,
of it.
I think
Okay.
so. Not 100% sure. I think that's what it is.
The theology experts out there could
Well,
let us
you
know.
Get in an argument with the Pope, tell him to fuck off, and you start your own church. I get it.
Michael Taylor, he didn't have really any problems outside of what most people go throughout life. He had chronic back pain and he had trouble finding a steady job. He was a trained butcher, but there wasn't much butcher work available at the time, so he really...
Everyone was a vegan.
Yeah.
No
I don't
butcher
know.
work. I just thought it'd be fun to be a butcher.
Yeah, well, you love, grilling all your meats and cooking your meats and
Yeah.
playing with your meats. So
Expert meat player with her.
so why not sell your meat?
It's not for sale.
The only other thing they said about him was that he went through periods of depression, but it wasn't considered severe. It just sounded like a dude that was like...
A guy that was 30 and looked like he was 75, I'd be fucking depressed too.
And had the back pain of a 75-year-old man.
Can't find a job.
Poor guy.
Like, we're not hiring this fucking 80-year-old guy to cut our meat.
who's constantly hunched over because of his back pain.
It's like, seriously, I'm 31. Sure you are, mate.
The only job he can get is like a fucking Walmart greeter with the old people there greeting people.
Damn.
Just roasting this guy.
Yeah, slaying him here.
During one of these periods of depression, one of his neighbors named Barbara Wardman noticed and told him that that getting involved in the church would be the best thing to get him on his feet and feeling good.
No one asked you, Barbara.
Right.
Thanks for butting in. You know she's that neighbor that's standing out front every day just watching everybody go by, loving to know the neighborhood gossip.
Yep. Barbara had recently started attending a small Anglican religious group that was holding meetings in various members' homes. So they didn't have a church or anywhere. They were just bouncing around from from members' homes and shit. And she figured this church would be this group would be the best thing for Michael because it wasn't like a stuffy whatever.
Right.
Church atmosphere.
So this guy was a non-church goer, and I suspect that he's going to start getting into trouble once he starts going to church. Let that be a warning for all of our listeners out there. Bad things happen when you go to church. Stay away.
And the weird thing about this group is that it's fully possible that it could have turned into a full-blown cult if what happens at the end of this story didn't happen.
Foreshadowing alert.
Good thing
Yeah.
it didn't. It saved us 3 episodes on that cult.
Right? And the group was ran by an attractive, charismatic 21-year-old woman named Marie Robinson, who claimed to be able to heal people, and she was gaining followers real quick of all ages. Elderly people. She was just racking up people.
Well, who knows more about life than 21-year-old girls? Of course you're going to listen to them for life advice.
Like, I'm interested in her. How did she get to this position? Just that she was charismatic?
Yeah, I mean, that's usually all it takes.
Yeah.
You know.
And then just wanted to lead people and control them and have that power like an
Yeah.
egomaniac.
Yeah. If you're saying the right shit.
Right.
We talked about that before. We could start our own church. There's enough suckers out there, right?
I think anybody who's charismatic enough can start. Yeah, I don't disagree.
Yeah. We got the one right down here in Wadsworth.
Oh, yeah.
They
We
bought-
talked about that before.
Yeah.
The culty church. What's the name of that?
I can't remember.
Put them on blast.
Yeah.
I don't know
They have
who-
a
I don't know who you guys are
fucking
talking
huge ass place out there. They bought up. People in Wadsworth are getting pissed because they keep buying all the houses and like a Jonestown style thing, like buying a bunch of houses and moving their members into these houses.
Really?
Yeah.
Do they have a Mr. Muggs?
No.
Well, then they're not legit.
But they do have armed guards outside their thing.
Jeez.
Yeah.
What's the name? I remember we talked about this. I
Yeah.
can't remember the name of the church.
Yeah.
Whatever. We don't need to hype them anyways. Don't give them publicity.
Maybe we'll do an episode on them.
We should. We can do it on site.
We
Remote.
say that, and then they're going to offer us money, and next thing you know, we're going to be doing ads for them. Fucking come out this Sunday. 10
Lord's
a.m.
waiting.
Woo!
Jesus loves you.
Their beliefs are strange too. They have some wild shit they believe in.
Well, episode coming in the future.
All right.
Hometown Heroes series.
Add them to the list.
We got a lot of them. Like you were saying, how did she get to this point? Like how Jim Jones saw that how Father Divine was successful. Like when Jim went out there and was like, "Oh fuck, I've been running this wrong the whole time." Like Father Divine's got it down.
I got to up my scam game.
Yeah. Marie Robinson took the approach that was laid out by a woman named Amy McPherson. Amy McPherson founded the Foursquare Church in the U.S. in the 1920s. The Foursquare Church had all like the speaking in tongues, the faith healings. The only difference between them and other churches or religions was that Amy McPherson had complete control of everything. So
that church is still around. Like that's a big thing.
Yeah, I mean it was huge. She had them all over the country.
Yeah. Well, speaking in tongues and faith healing, it's so believable. I mean, of course, it's around 100 years later,
right? Maybe they could have healed Michael Taylor's hair follicles.
That's rough, man.
This you know this picture is awful. And Ian, I'm still not convinced he was 31 in that photo.
I'm just saying, man.
But I want to believe it because it's hilarious. Like that is. Oh,
he was only 31, Governor.
I dare one of you guys to make that your Instagram photo, your icon. People will think it's you.
I know that our one listener already doesn't want to be friends with me because I'm too old, that motherfucker.
Yeah. Well, technically, you'll be posting a younger man as your photo. He's just going to look double your actual age. It's unbelievable.
So Michael, he agreed to give Marie Robinson's group a try. And after just one meeting, Michael was completely sold on it.
Oh, of course he was.
During the first meeting, Marie asked the group if anyone needed healing. And since Michael suffered from the back pain, he figured that he would at least try it out. Michael got up and started walking to the front, but before he could get to Marie, because Marie's walking down, Michael gets up and starts walking towards her.
At a 75-year-old's pace. Slowly hobbling up there.
And so before Michael could get to her, she stopped at an old woman named Mavis Smith. And I realized I put Marvis in here throughout the whole
I'm actually disappointed because I thought the name was Marvis, and I was going to comment how that is a badass name.
No,
Marvis.
it's Mavis.
Nope, typo.
That is a cool name, Marvis.
I like Marvis.
I didn't even know is that a real name?
I don't think so. This was the first I had heard of it. But
I've never heard it. Yeah.
I was down with it.
Marie said that she felt that Mavis needed healing and knelt down in front of her and just started speaking in tongues all crazy at this old woman.
I think there's something she should be doing with her tongue, and it's not speaking.
On poor old Marvis?
Well, yeah, you know.
That's a church you'd go to.
Mavis was crying while supposedly being healed. And
She wasn't laughing?
No.
Oh, sure. So stupid.
And then all of a sudden, Michael, who wasn't religious or whatever, dropped to his knees and just started speaking in tongues at Mavis too. So now they're both going on this old lady.
Have you ever watched people, like YouTube videos of people these preachers speaking in tongues?
Yeah.
It's utterly ridiculous.
Everyone has seen Borat. They've seen it happen.
Does that happen in
Yeah, in
Borat?
that scene, yeah. When they're like healing him and he's just going,
It's so great.
That movie's hilarious.
You ever see the documentary Jesus Camp with all the kids that go to?
I don't think I ever watched that.
It's pretty wild. But yeah, they're all doing the speaking in tongues. They all got their hands up and.
What's the one that Bill Maher did? Religious? That was good. That was really good. Have you seen that one? Mm-mm. That's really good.
Yeah, it's strange.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
In Bill Maher, they go to that Jesus World or whatever.
Jesus World.
In Orlando? What's that called? Like some kind of creationism museum or something?
Yes, it's like a whole like Disneyland part of yeah.
Right.
Yeah, what is that called? I forget. It's wild.
It's like the Noah's Ark thing in Kentucky.
Is that like a destination type thing to visit?
Yeah, it's like an amusement park, right?
Let's do a live show from there.
I'm sure we'd have a warm welcome out there. So Michael, he left the meeting feeling great. Nothing was done about his back pain, but he was sold on it and started hosting these meetings at his house. Marie, being attractive and charismatic, was a huge part of her pull, but she also had this mysterious dark aspect of religion in that she was all about exorcisms and possession. Anglicans, they don't call them exorcisms. Instead, they use the name deliverance, like deliver us from the devil.
That's
That's what I was thinking too.
This here road don't lead to Aintree.
Even though Anglicans have some differences, like using their hands to channel the power of Jesus instead of using holy water, they still have guidelines that the Catholic Church has.
Do they like pedophilia too, like the Catholic Church?
I don't know.
Okay, just curious.
This is like open mic Sunday for Dave over here. We couldn't have given him a better softball of a topic.
Every cult episode, every exorcism episode.
Yeah, you sense the pattern. Kooky behavior equals religious people.
So to determine whether or not someone's possessed or mentally ill, so they're trying to figure out if there's really a possession going on. The Anglican Church must see that a person all of a sudden has abnormal strength. They can speak a language that they couldn't before, and they know facts about people in the room or others that they shouldn't know. So, like, what's her face? Annalise, remember? She knew about that.
Who's Annalise?
We haven't talked to Annalise in a while. Yeah, she knew all those old priests?
Yeah, the one old priest and
that nobody would have known, Dave. That she would not have had any way of knowing about him.
The German priest that was 200 miles from her home.
How would she have known about him?
Oh God, I don't know.
There was no cell phones.
It's weird, like she didn't know about a priest in Ireland or somewhere. It's a priest.
We don't know that she didn't. We don't know that she didn't.
Well, those are some good rules.
But like the Catholic Church, exorcisms needed to be approved by the Anglican Church. So, but Marie Robinson was just doing her own thing with her own rules. She wasn't giving a fuck.
She's the Stone Cold Steve Austin of the Anglican Church. Like, she don't give a fuck about the authorities. Yeah. She's drinking beer and raising hell.
I don't know how much beer drinking was going on with these people.
Yeah, they'd be better off if they had a few cocktails.
Probably.
It's England. There's a lot of beer drinking going on.
So now he's having these meetings at his house. During one of these meetings, Michael and his wife, Christine, experienced their first exorcism that was conducted by Marie. That old woman, Mavis, that was attempted to be healed on the first night that Michael went to one of these meetings, was going through issues of depression. And instead of going through any of these guidelines or addressing it in a rational way, Marie just decided that an exorcism needed to be done right then and there in Michael's house.
Gather around, impromptu exorcism. They serve hors d'oeuvres at exorcisms.
I mean, I would imagine these groups have snacks, right?
I would think so.
You're sitting in someone's house, they're bringing donuts at least, coffee.
Something.
Yeah,
Some
I mean, it's
platters.
a meeting.
Yeah.
Some spotted dick, some bangers and mash.
Spotted.
Whatever else they eat over there.
What was that first one?
It's a
Spotted
thing.
dick.
Yeah.
Oh.
What is that exactly?
Is it like bread pudding or something?
It's something like a cake or a pudding.
Yeah, I
or,
don't
yeah.
remember. I just always thought
You
it was
never heard of
funny.
that?
No, I thought he
Spotted
was
dick?
making
No, it's
some
a thing.
wild ass
No.
joke.
It's a thing. I mean, it does. It sounds like it.
He's like, spotted dick. I'm going to get some penicillin.
So Marie put her hands on Mavis's head
Leave fucking Mavis alone. This poor woman.
and just started yelling at her in tongues. And then Mavis went through the whole possessed thing. She played her part in it and started screaming and throwing herself around. But Mavis didn't play along and with the fact that she was supposed to be healed. And when Marie saw that it wasn't working, they just stopped, and they're like, it's whatever. Didn't work.
And that'll
fuck
be
it.
the end of tonight. So we'll see you guys next week.
And the Anglicans and this stuff, with their healing, they're like super aggressive. They're the ones that like just fucking hit you on the forehead and shit. Like, those dudes that were on TV back in the day.
Yeah.
Ernest Angley.
Ernest Angley,
Yeah.
our guy. Hometown hero.
Another. We could do an episode on him. Probably.
Oh, is he a hometown
And his
guy?
fucking gigantic ears. Jesus, they were like 7 inches long.
You're roasting people on looks tonight.
Yeah, I'm being judgy.
Very superficial.
And
I
his
have to
nasty
say.
ass wig. Heel.
The power of the blood. What did he used to say? The lane of the blood. Something with the blood. The power of the blood.
All right, he was always on like 10, 11 o'clock at night. I'd fall asleep to that horror story.
They just fucking blast someone in the forehead.
Their
and-
church is
Right.
still running in like Akron, right? Isn't it in Akron?
It's an Akron, yeah.
They got the big cross like on the ceiling.
That's wild.
They have this big, huge like theater venue, and there's always like 100 people there. Like this will hold a few thousand. There's like
Yeah.
100 people.
He's not pulling the Joel Osteen
Well, I don't
numbers.
think he does. Is he still alive?
I don't know. He's got to be like 120 if he is. That was fucking 90.
No, Dave. He was also 31. We're doing too much inside jokes. People who don't know any of these people are gonna be like, "Fuck these guys."
People know Ernest Angley though. Like he's a
But not-
national figure.
Is he?
He was doing
Yeah.
shit in Africa. He was all over the place.
Well, I just thought that was still only broadcast here, though. Like, I didn't think people in like Texas are gonna know who Ernest Angley is.
I don't know. If you guys know who this fucking asshole Ernest Angley is, let us know.
Oh, but I'm roasting people over here.
I mean, insert any asshole preacher that
Yeah.
would smack someone in the forehead and tell them they're healed.
Or have a private plane, or
Yeah. So this exorcism thing kind of freaked out Michael's wife. She was kind of coming down from that good feeling that this whole thing was giving them at first. She started noticing too that Michael seemed to be way more interested in Marie than the religious aspect of the group.
You don't say. That's really weird.
Numerous times Christine would walk in on Michael with his hands on Marie's shoulders, just staring at her in what was supposedly just a prayer session. Michael and Marie also started staying up all night, making the sign of the cross at each other and speaking.
What a fun night. Throw in some Uno games and you got a fucking party.
The visual of that, just looking at each other, doing the sign of the cross, speaking in tongues.
Yeah, because what they did it because they believed that a full moon brought evil. So
There are a lot of dumb fucking people in this world.
Well, in all fairness to him, he was just trying to get laid.
That's true.
for sure.
Yeah.
100%.
But it started.
What, so was she trying to get anything out of this, Marie? Like, other than just like the power and maybe having it grow eventually? What was her intentions?
Like laying the base for
for
a church to make it grow, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
guess.
so
yeah.
essentially, she wanted to just
right.
Jonestown it, but
Yeah.
okay.
Like female cult. I think I have this in the outline later on, but I mean we can get into it now. The female cult leaders are way different than male ones. You know. I mean she's obviously using the fact that she's attractive and this whole sex appeal thing, but she has no interest in fucking any of these people.
Well, I feel like once you, as a woman, like you start losing the power then.
Yeah.
Holding it over them, making them want you more is kind of what keeps you with the power.
Right.
Whereas like Jim Jones was just sleeping with everybody.
Oh yeah, and that's why the women cult leaders are always super sick. You don't really hear about the women cult leaders really doing anything.
Mm-hmm. But are there a lot of female?
Yeah, I was just gonna say I don't
leaders?
really ever hear about female
Yeah.
cult leaders. We
Yeah,
need to
there's
show
one.
on them, like maybe a joint one, just on all of them
Yeah.
if there's not a big story, because that's fascinating. to me.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, like that Nexium cult with that Keith Raniere guy.
I don't know what that is.
Alex Mack, the actress, just got in trouble.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like that cult wouldn't be successful without the women involved in that.
Okay.
So,
We'll have to do an episode on
Yeah.
that. That'd be cool.
yeah.
All right. So Michael's got a hard on for Marie.
Yeah, and they're making signs of the cross at each other over and over again.
One speaking in tongues.
Well, I mean that's no different than Bourbon Dave at the end of an episode. Right?
Very true.
Trying to spot
I was
out-
speaking in tongues last week.
And that was straight from your god, Bourbon.
It started to become apparent to the whole group that there was some kind of sexual tension going on between Michael and Marie, but Michael kept just reassuring everyone that he only loved Marie in a Christian love, or with a Christian love.
With a Christian love.
That's that Sade song, Christian Love. This is a Christian kind of love.
I'm not familiar with that cut.
Never mind.
Okay. Did we miss that joke? Did that move
What's
over
that
our heads?
Sade song? No Ordinary Love?
I
You're not
don't
a Sade fan?
I don't know who
the
Sade
greatest
is.
female vocalist of all time?
Stop it. We're not talking about Britney Spears right now.
No, because Britney does not belong in a discussion about
I've never heard of
greatest female vocalist
All right, I'm
of
going
all
to change
time.
the subject. I've never heard of Sade.
What?
Have you? Mm-mm. See? This is before our time, Dave.
She's still around. She's
Sade?
the best. Sade. S-A-D-E. Sade.
No.
Some of the greatest music ever.
All right. I'm not saying you're wrong. I just don't know who it is.
All right.
Check her out on
Well,
iTunes,
then my
I
joke
guess.
fell flat, motherfucker.
Somebody out there probably got it. In Bangladesh.
So eventually, Michael's wife, Christine, just had enough of it and publicly called out Michael and Marie at one of these prayer meetings that were being held at their house. So that's got to be awkward as fuck for everybody sitting there.
It is like, this cheese is good.
What kind of olives are these?
Yeah.
In a real weird way of trying to resolve it, Christine, Michael's wife, suggested that Michael and Marie go upstairs alone while everyone was waiting downstairs and figure out what was going on between them.
Oh, why don't you just go up and fuck already?
Yeah. Just get out of your systems and let's just go on with our lives. Well, Christine, in a story full of dumb shit, that might be the dumbest shit we've had yet happen.
Could you imagine thinking that way? Like, yeah, like your spouse is obviously wants to fuck this person. You're like, just go upstairs and figure this out.
Go to our marital bed and figure this out,
Yeah.
and then come down. In a whole story where I'm trying to figure out what people are thinking, this one might be the top of the list.
Really get inside the root of the problem.
See, that was a sex joke because he was talking about getting inside of her. I explained that one so the people that might have missed it with your Sade joke.
It's a Christian kind of love.
So, according to Marie, as soon as the door closed behind them, Michael leaned in for a kiss. And Marie
And she saw that bald head coming at her and was like, get the fuck out of here.
the shitty ass glasses.
You ain't getting none of this, governor.
Go ahead, sorry.
So Marie obviously moved back and explained to Michael that it wasn't like that he should probably just go be with his wife. And this is what we were talking about before, that, Marie knew exactly what she was doing, and female cult leaders don't make sex a huge aspect of the cult like male ones do. I mean,
Yeah.
Jim,
Just keep them wanting you.
yeah, Jim Jones is the perfect example. I mean, he was out there fucking everybody.
He was even getting paid to fuck so he could donate the $5,000 to charity.
True. Well,
He's
but
an
that's because he's a
upstanding
giving
citizen.
man. He's a giving man. Mr. Muggs.
I don't want to fuck this girl in Brazil, but she's paying me.
Right.
So I'll do it
Well,
for the cause.
Mr. Muggs put her on the fuck schedule.
It's the cause.
What are you going to do?
So when they came out of the room, instead of just saying like, hey, we discussed it, we figured our shit out, it's over and done with, Michael just announced to the whole group that a miracle had happened, and and they resolved their love for each other. And everybody in the room was just, I mean, you could just imagine the scene that everybody in the room's like,
Are there pimentos in these olives?
I try to think about that, putting myself in the room in all these stories we do, and it's just hard sometimes.
this would be
It's so
awkward as
bizarre.
Because you
fuck.
would never be in this room.
No.
With these Anglicans. That would be the story in itself. Dave's at an Anglican house meeting. What?
Praise Jesus. So he didn't even get a hand job, right? He got nothing.
No, he got
nothing.
nothing.
No.
I mean, he should have just came out and just accepted it and said it. But I mean, he made it way worse by doing this.
Just keep your mouth shut, man. Like,
This
we
miracle
resolved
shit.
it. We're good.
Yeah. Feeling the intense embarrassment, Michael he kind of snapped.
Yeah, it's fucking blue balls. Preacher Marie won't fuck him. That's why he's snapping.
And what was described to police later was they said that something completely changed in Michael's eyes, like just snapped. And Marie noticed that he was, something was going on with him. And then instead of just leaving his house and, trying to de-escalate this whole thing, she just started screaming in tongues at him.
Oh, shabalaba laba dinga donga dunga shabalaba.
And then Michael started screaming back at her in tongues.
Shabalaba laba dinga donga shabalaba.
And then Michael claimed to have seen a vision of Marie standing in front of him naked. And then when he looked down at himself, he was naked too. And then he claims that he blacked out. During this blackout, Michael attacked Marie. He started hitting her, ripping at her hair, trying to pull off her face. And the whole group and his wife were trying to pull him off. And Michael was eventually pulled off, and the police were called, but no charges were filed against him. So it took a major
I don't know
turn
what
there.
to even say
That
here.
went 0 to 100 real quick.
Yeah. But instead of just taking the hint, I mean, it's not okay what he did at all, but I mean, you should have enough sense at that point to be like, all right, I'm not going to fuck with this dude anymore. You know, like
Probably
this is
smart.
Yeah, this is a bad idea. Marie showed back up at Michael's house the next day and told Michael that she forgave him and knew that it was the devil inside of him that did it. So she basically just validated what he just did.
I have to say, it is kind of sweet to be possessed because you could just do whatever you want and just blame it on the demon.
Yeah.
Right?
And then you're forgiven, and they'll
Built-in alibi, do whatever you
exorcise
want.
you, and
So
that's
the
it.
demon did it.
Like
Yeah.
that. I think we've talked about this before. The South Park episode where Cartman realizes that if you say you have Tourette's, you can get away with saying whatever you want. And then it's like explaining, like, I got a golden ticket. It's one of my favorite episodes.
Christine, Michael's wife, this was like a fucking last straw for her. She was basically told Marie to get the fuck out of there, and they would have no involvement in their group anymore, or her group anymore.
We'll be right back.
We like to drink beer, a lot of it. After a long night of drinking and talking crime and conspiracies, there's nothing that wakes us up and gets us ready to start the day better than Just Brew coffee. With a great selection of roast levels to choose from, you're guaranteed to find one that suits your style. Small batch roasted to highlight the unique features of each coffee bean, Just Brew coffee caters to both casual and hardcore coffee drinkers alike. Since 2010, Just Brew Coffee has worked tirelessly to perfect the roasting process and technique, which has resulted in seriously delicious, always flavorful, and never bitter tasting coffee. If you're already drinking JBC, raise your mug. If you're not, raise your standards. Check them out in social media, and remember, they roast, you just brew.
Check out their new online store at youjustbrew.com and up your coffee game today. Use code NECRO15 to receive 15% off your order of 2 pounds or more.
Following this incident with Marie, Michael seemed to have a complete break with reality. First, he started destroying everything in the house that was religious.
Well, it seems like he's coming back to reality.
I was gonna say, I was gonna throw it at Dave and be like, "Well, Dave, what's so unreasonable about that?"
And then he started wandering outside his house, telling his neighbors that he had seen the devil.
I bet fucking Barbara loved that shit. She was salivating at that neighbor drama.
Yeah.
So do we think he always had this mental illness and kind of the interaction with these religious kooks triggered it? What are we thinking here at this point?
Well, he had already been kind of depressed.
Yeah,
So,
but depression
yeah.
doesn't make you have. I mean, like stress is possible to make you have a break with reality. Any mental illness would have already shown up by now. Usually, like schizophrenia or bipolar shows up around like late teens, early 20s.
Just so, like, do you think it's like what you said, like power of persuasion? Like he believed he had something in him because they told him that, and so now he's just like, well, I feel angry. This must be the demon. I'm just gonna flip out.
But that's different from the break from reality, though, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I mean, I said it seemed like a break from reality. I mean, anybody who joins a cult is a highly
Susceptible to power of suggestion, right?
Right. Yeah. So I mean,
Okay.
look at Marshall Apple. I mean, he convinced people that there was a UFO behind the Hale-Bopp comet, and they were going up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if somebody's that suggestible to things, you can convince them of anything.
I think that's right.
And this was a smaller town, and word of his behavior started traveling around. And made
Did you hear what that wanker Michael's doing?
Shut up, Barbara.
So the word of this got its way to a preacher named Peter Vincent.
Is that one of the original names of one of the guys in Kiss? Is that their legal name? Peter Vincent? Sounds like that.
It's Peter Criscola. Stop it. You know that too.
This guy was known for carrying out many exorcisms. And once Peter Vincent heard what was going on with Michael, he became convinced that he was possessed by some form of a demon. Peter Vincent went over to Michael's house to see it for himself, but when he got there, Michael's story had changed. Michael was now saying that Marie was actually a Satanist and tried to seduce him in front of his wife.
Oh, the plot thickens.
Oh boy, that floozy.
And Peter, he completely bought this story. He was convinced that Marie had cast a demon onto Michael.
Yeah, blue ball demon. We know.
So after this visit, the Taylors were planning on going on a small vacation just to regroup themselves from everything and try to get back to normal life.
Do you know where they were going to go?
No,
Just curious.
Cancun.
Cancun?
Probably.
Ibiza over there?
Yeah.
Party town?
Somewhere over there.
But unfortunately, the same neighbor from the beginning, Barbara Wardman, rolled in and convinced them to at least go visit Peter Vincent about.
Came over in her pink bathrobe, holding her small
Right.
dog. Holding her small dog. Like, I know this type. It's obnoxious.
Yeah, she convinced him to go at least see what Peter Vincent had to say about it. You know, just at least go talk to him.
Well, he's the authority on this stuff.
Yeah.
There's always these turning points in all these stories where if you would have taken the other road,
Yep.
we wouldn't be telling your story, maybe.
So on October 5th, 1974, Peter Vincent and a few others from the Anglican Church pulled a surprise exorcism on Michael when he showed up.
Surprise, motherfucker!
Sit in
Exorcism time! Ridiculous.
Michael reacted violently.
They're kidnapping him.
And that would be that's the most rational thing he's done this whole story.
Yeah, he threw a cup of tea in the priest's face.
Of course it's a cup of tea. Of course it is.
He booted. I guess there was a cat in the church. He booted this cat.
Well done, sir. Well done.
And then he punched Peter Vincent in the face. Members of the church tackled Michael and tied him up and then put him in the church office until midnight came. And it sounded like he went there like in the evening. Like they tied this dude up and put him in this room for like a good 5-6 hours.
Crazy.
Oh my gosh.
That's kidnapping and assault. I mean,
100%.
fuck.
Never mind the fact that he kicked a pussy. Cat.
He beat up that pussy. Bad.
Well, we don't know. That pussy was never heard from again.
That pussy couldn't walk for a couple days after that beating. The cat. I'm talking about the cat.
Of course. Yeah.
That pussy looked like an Arby's sandwich after he was done with it.
Oh God. All right, I'm done. I'll cut it off. I'm not going to keep going with it.
I spilled my beer.
Are people still out there listening to this one? Hello? Are you there? We probably lost these folks a long time ago. This show has been long off the rails. If you're still with us, thank you.
I spilled beer in my lap.
Oh my God, that's all over your shirt, too. All right.
So
You want horsey sauce on that pussy?
You better just keep going before he gets something else.
At midnight, the members of the church took turns expelling demons from Michael. They made him admit to sins that he'd never committed, and when he admitted to them, they started shoving crosses in his mouth.
What? Because, that's normal behavior.
Jesus.
So this went on all night, and by the time the sun came up, Peter Vincent claimed that they had removed 40 demons in total from Michael.
So I looked at this a little deeper.
Yeah.
And they named some of the demons that they took out of Michael. Among them, the incest demon, the bestiality demon, the blasphemy demon, and the lewdness demon. So I guess my question is, lewdness wasn't covered enough in the bestiality demon that it had to be its own special demon, because bestiality wasn't lewd enough.
Or incest.
That wasn't lewd enough, so...
How do you think they have control over which demon they draw out, or is it just kind of like the pool, like what filters out I wonder.
Well, it kind of sounds like they were making him admit to these things, so they're probably like, and making him admit to some form of incest. So what exactly did he do to that
cat after he kicked it?
Yeah.
We're going back to the pussy, all right?
I mean, did he fuck the pussy? Did he? It's a fair question. Bestiality. He's admitting to it.
It's true.
Could you imagine a scene like that? He throws tea in this guy's face, kicks his cat, punches the guy in the face, and then fucks the cat right after.
I want to make that movie. I want to direct that movie.
Nuts. Is you a cow fucker, you? Is you fucking the goat? We know you done it. This might be the most ridiculous story we've done today.
So
is you banging pigs out back? Wanker.
So Peter told the group and the Taylors that there were 3 demons left inside of him. The demons of anger, insanity, and murder. But since everyone was worn out, he suggested that Michael and his wife Christine go home and get some rest, and they would take care of the other 3. They would take care of the other 3 later in the day.
40 down, 3 to go, wanker. Go home. We'll do this tomorrow.
So the church sent Michael home. Keep in mind, this guy has been up all night. They're beating the fuck out of this dude, jamming crosses in his mouth. And now they just sent him home with the idea that he still had 3 demons inside of him.
You got a murder inside you still. Go home and sleep it off.
And don't you think that they would have pulled those demons out first?
Yeah, maybe murder before blasphemy. I don't know.
Maybe they didn't know what they were pulling out. It's just kind of like you put like the vacuum in and whatever gets sucked out.
Do you see the demon when you pull it out?
Well,
how do you know that
you'd
you
have to ask
out?
Peter Vincent that question. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know
the
how
experts
that works.
on that here.
Like, what do they do with the 40 demons?
They throw them in the garbage
trash
bag.
Throw them out with the trash?
Yeah.
Maybe they have something like the Ghostbusters, that push pedal thing.
Just, logistically, I'm finding it hard to believe.
Yeah.
Fortunately for what's about to happen, Christine had a family friend take their 5 kids in for the night, so they weren't home when Michael and Christine got back.
A lot of foreshadowing tonight.
Yeah.
I like it.
It's not known for sure what happened because Michael Taylor says he remembers nothing.
The demon made me do it.
What was that?
I don't know. Cut that out. That was horrible.
No, leave that in, please. Leave it in. I feel like this is like Miller Lite Dave coming out now.
But you can assume that something came over him, like when he attacked Marie Robinson. Somewhere in the 2 hours that Michael and Christine were home alone in their house, Michael stripped naked and attacked her.
I'm going to kick your ass as soon as I take my shirt and pants off.
It's like American Psycho.
Yeah. Michael then ripped out her tongue with his bare hands and then gouged her eyes out with his thumbs. Then he literally began ripping her face apart and just throwing it around the room.
That's not funny anymore.
No.
It's not funny.
He then grabbed their pet poodle and ripped all 4 of its legs from the sockets and then ripped out its tongue and gouged its eyes out too. And then
So dumb question. Did Christine survive this?
No.
Oh. Okay.
No. She bled to death, or she choked to death on her blood from him ripping out her tongue.
Yeah.
Oh, brutal.
Michael went outside completely naked and covered in blood, and he just screaming over and over again, "It is the blood of Satan."
Barbara fucking standing over there drinking her coffee with her pink robe, watching all this happen.
And
can't wait to tell her friends about the gossip.
The one eyewitness from calling the police when they reported
the one eyewitness, like he ripped the witness's eye out.
Dang,
too soon, Dave. Too soon.
Sorry.
They said, they were like, oh, there's like it looks like the naked guy's over there walking around like covered in red paint. Like he was absolutely covered in blood. So he was quickly arrested and found not guilty on reason of insanity.
Yeah, the demon did it. I told you. It's a sweet alibi.
Yeah. He was then housed at the Broadmoor Mental Hospital And after all this, the preacher, Peter Vincent, was actually promoted within the church.
Of course.
Attaboy, Peter. Nice work on that one.
The only thing that the church saw wrong with what he did was that he took a break before all the demons
He
were
sent him
out.
home with the murder demon.
Should have got them all.
Which that's just amazing that's what they saw wrong with this whole situation. Not the fact that they kidnapped this fucking guy. And
Kidnapping
beat
and
his
assault, that didn't matter.
Shoved.
Some crosses in his
Yeah,
mouth.
made him perform fellatio on a cross.
So Michael was in this mental hospital for 4 years and then was released back into normal society. The doctors came to the conclusion that he had hyperventilated during this exorcism and caused temporary psychosis.
Is that a thing?
I don't know.
Hyperventilation-induced psychosis?
I'm sure it was probably a stressful as fuck situation. What was going on?
I guess why wouldn't you murder all those fucking clowns at the church instead of your own wife?
Right. Was his wife at the exorcism?
Yeah.
She was there.
Maybe that's why you let this happen to me kind of scenario.
Yeah, I
She's
don't
just
know.
watching.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on with her. Yeah, so I mean, as far as where Michael is today, there are 4 recorded suicide attempts that he made. And then in 2005, he was arrested for inappropriately touching a minor.
Oh, Demon did it. Demon's back.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I can't remember the age of the girl, but yeah.
31.
Other than that, no one knows what happened to him or if he's even still alive. He might have successfully killed himself. Who knows?
Damn.
Interesting. What happened to Marie? Just did her hopes and dreams of being a future cult religious leader die on the vine there with
Yeah.
when
That was-
Michael
I was
ripped
gonna
his
ask
wife's
that
face
too.
apart?
Yeah,
I was
Michael.
going to ask that too. What happened to her?
Yeah, she just kind of faded out. And
She's just speaking in tongues by herself somewhere.
Doing the sign of the cross looking in the mirror.
yeah, Michael Taylor fucked that up for her. It's interesting. I don't know, power of suggestibility.
Yeah, that's an interesting story. I mean, I hate to say fun story, but it was a little bit fun to go through.
Well, it's all fun and games up until like those last few paragraphs there.
Yeah, when he was on his little spree of killing people
Yeah.
or killing a person and a
yeah.
dog.
It's got to take some strength to rip out someone's tongue with your bare hands.
Yeah.
I think it does, yeah.
I mean, that would be hard to even grab a hold of
Yeah,
someone's
how do you
tongue
grab
like
someone's
that.
tongue? I can't grab my tongue. It slips right off.
No, I don't know.
Need some sandpaper or something to wrap around it and pull it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
something.
gloves on of some sort.
Yeah.
But he didn't do it he did it to the dog also.
Yeah.
That's weird.
It's 2 successful tongue detachments in one episode for
I
him.
can get wanting to rip your wife's tongue out of her mouth. But your dog? I don't know. That's beyond.
So, yeah, that's Michael Taylor.
All right. Well, David, that was a fun episode for you.
It's pretty good.
You had to freestyle about some religion there.
Yeah.
Stay away from the religion, kids. It's not good for you.
Yeah. And if anybody has any other exorcism stories out there, send them our way. Because this was the last one on the list for me. I don't know any other ones.
These exorcism ones are kind of fun.
Yeah.
The Annalise one's still one of my all-time favorite episodes, if not my favorite.
Fuck you, Mike.
Fuck you too, bitch. Sorry, I don't know who invited Country Mike.
Fuck me, Country Mike. Fuck me, Country Mike. Fuck me.
You got to watch a couple more NASCAR races before Country Mike's interested in your kind, I would imagine. His levels spike when he does that.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Ian, you got anything else on the exorcism of Michael Taylor?
No.
Dave, you got anything to add here? Any last cheap shots you want to take at religion?
No, I've taken enough. I think none of them are cheap. They're all well-founded shots. But no, great story.
Yeah, and
I'm
like
just curious what happened to Michael Taylor. I'd like to know what he's up to these days. Michael Taylor, call me, buddy.
hit us up. We'd love to have him as a special in-studio guest.
Yeah.
At this point, he probably looks like he's like 250 years old.
He looks like who's that old bad guy villain from Big Trouble in Little China? What's his name?
I don't know.
But he's like
Yeah.
hundreds of years
Right.
old when they wheel his ass out.
The fucking the grandpa from Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Where they're putting an axe in his hand. Come on, Grandpa.
Yep, that's about him. Meanwhile, he's only like 60 now or 70 now, right?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, probably 70, right?
If he's still alive.
I wonder.
Who knows?
Marie Robinson, hit us up if you're around. Got
Yeah,
a secret
she's-
cult you want to
Right.
talk about.
We'll plug it on here. All right, we got any shout outs, Ian?
Yeah, I've got a bunch for iTunes.
That's good news.
Yeah. People have been leaving a lot of reviews lately, which is awesome. So we got them for Jordan Winkle, Gardney, Seth T98, which was in roast mode on both of you guys about.
Was it the guy that said I'm too old to be his friend?
Yeah, and
I'll
then,
drink you under the table, Seth T.
Damn. He just didn't like me because I don't like the Goonies. That's all right.
Yeah.
Though. That's all right. He wasn't really roasting me, just stating a fact.
Christina the Teacher, Eon Flex, George Fett, TD Rave, Braden R75, Jackie, I can't read my handwriting here, Jackie.
Sorry, Jackie.
Sorry, Jackie.
Wow.
Jackie 81, can't read the last part.
Damn.
Loud 1120 and Sarah Sprinkles. And then we give a shout out to Lisa Macaroni back in Jonestown.
Jonestown Part 2.
But yeah, shout out to Lisa. She's been listening since the beginning. So
Yeah.
Well, she already had a shout out. She gets another one?
she missed hers, right?
She missed it, so we gave her a special bonus shout out.
If you don't listen to the show, you don't hear your shout
She
out. I
listened
don't
to the
understand.
show. She missed the last part of it. I don't know. If I was,
Okay.
I'd be
All
turning
right.
us off by now, probably. They're like, oh, they're wrapping this shit up. I'll catch them next week.
I just prefer Lisa's brother instead. Sorry. Her brother Elbow. Elbow Macaroni.
God damn.
He's been waiting for that one.
Sorry, Lisa. I'm just kidding.
Some original comedians out here.
Lisa
tonight.
Macaroni had the it was Flavor Aid shirt.
The
I remember
Flavor
her.
Aid shirt. Yeah,
she's cool.
She's been a follower, listener for a while. So,
Tell your brother Elbow I said hi.
all right, we're landing this plane. We are on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube at Necronomipod. If you have not given us or left us an iTunes rating and review, please do so. We had a bunch this week. Like we say every week, it really helps us get noticed and get our name out there. So hit us up, leave us a rating and review, and then hit us up on the social medias. Let us know if you have any special requests. Like Ian said, if you have any exorcism stories, let us know because we have fun doing those and we're out of them. So,
Or if you yourself have ever been exorcised.
that would also be
That'd be
awesome.
great.
Or if you want us to exercise you live in studio, we could try that as well.
Sure.
We don't mean like making you do jumping jacks. We can pull the demons out of you.
Yep. We're going to drink beer. We're not going to do any exercise. So,
Use beer as holy water. All right. You guys ready for a cool down beer?
Cheers.
yep.